Round 1 matches are done here at ESL One Genting 2018. It's time to move into the winners bracket matches. All best of 3s as the ranked 9 team in the DPC take on the top ranked team. It's Fnatic versus Team Secret. We've also got 2 of our own stars back at the desk. Gods and Fault have joined us for this particular matchup. What up? I'm really looking forward to this. I don't know why. Cat was a bit like, no, it's going to be one-sided. Secret is going to steamroll him. Alan was a bit more on my side. He's kind of like, yeah, I think it's going to be exciting. I don't really care what the result is. It's more about the fact that you get to see this Fnatic lineup, which I felt like was improving steadily towards the back end of last year. And then they've added a universe. Like, that can only be even better, surely.
Yeah, it could be.
Come on, Fog, get high!
I do not. I'm honestly with Cap. I don't want to be such a Secret fan. But I think these guys, like role for role, these guys have been playing the best out of anybody
that we've seen I accept that Secret are probably the favourites and they are the better team and they've had a great season. But come on, man, Fnatic, SCA, you've got to be hyped.
Go to Gods for this one.
That's why I'm trying to get Gods because he's on my side for this one. He's like, SCA, hurrah, we got Universe back here.
Yeah, I believe in this Fnatic team. I think Abed can match up against mid one in the mid lane. I don't think we're going to see the same major issues. I mean, Planet Dog got completely wiped apart. Some of the issues they have, just player matchup, lane matchups aren't going to exist. Strategic-wise, as a team perspective, yeah, that's where Secret do have a big edge, but it really comes down to how well Fnatic have prepared for Team Secret here.
Let's talk about the lineup in Fnatic's team, because they've had this change. I feel a bit sorry for Ohio, really.
I do too.
He didn't do an awful lot wrong, did he, to be moved out of the team? But when you get a chance to sign Universe, you want to sign him, right?
We were actually, all of us have been talking, we've all been talking, we're like, man, Ohio was really he was on the rise. Like, this guy was starting to improve. He was looking back to his old shape, and then, it's just like... But yeah, I think it comes down to where they want to have... Because Ohio was starting to be like this... He's kind of shining a little bit, right? Like, I felt like he was playing more of like this carry offlaner, where they already have Envy and Abed. And they want this more... We do say Universe does take farm, but I think he will give Envy and Abed more of a chance of being these hardcore carriers. He's going to be the guy who'll be like, all right, I'll step down, take less farm. These guys will be the ones that carry the games. So I think that might be what the approach that Fnatic wanted.
If there's an issue here, Gods, it's the fact that it might take a little bit of time to fit him in and for them to gel and figure out how they play together.
Theoretically, and what we've seen in the past, sometimes Universe has taken up a lot of farm. The Secret Edition, where it was him, Arteezy, and Envy, was a disaster. Probably one of the worst all-star lineups of all time, considering the players they had on that team. So this Fnatic already better than that. So I don't think we're at risk of it flopping like that Team Secret did. But there is potential for it to not work out in the long haul. Maybe they have some success in the short term and then suddenly realize that, Universe isn't the best fit, but they're kind of committing to it and hoping that's going to work.
Is he still a world-class offlaner?
Universe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, he always has been. Always will be. No reason he's going to ever really not be in that category, but I think he is kind of in that category of players who are a bit untouchable, and that you talk about him, it's like, yeah, one of the best outflaners in the world. He is, but, he has times, as every player does, where you go through your roller coaster, you have dips, you have times where you're not playing at your best, and sometimes you have to kind of endure through them, and sometimes you see players fall off, disappear because of those dips.
Let's talk about the other team in here, the #1 ranked DPC team so far, Team Secret. It seems to get stronger, and I remember us talking back in September about the teams that might come to the fore, and they were one of those that we mentioned as these could challenge, but it's going to take a bit of time. Yeah, it might take a bit more time to gel and find their own way. Actually, they didn't. They hit the ground running from the moment they went into the qualifiers. They were red hot from literally the first qualifying match.
We've all been saying this too. Is one thing I'm glad you brought up qualifiers is Secret's played the most Dota.
Yeah,
the guys who just play the most Dota every year and
they
win.
Well, exactly. That's the point.
Every year,
Wings. CDC. Like if you look back over the years, all the teams that ended up having to qualify for all the events always did better at TI.
Well, Secret won't be playing qualifiers for any events over the next 6 months.
I was going to say, it's probably going to be a bit less.
Maybe they peak too soon.
But they are playing all the minors. That's the thing. Like we noticed, they're going for everything. They don't care. They're like, oh, we're at the top of the board. Doesn't matter. We'll play some minors. We don't care. Practice is good. Patches change. Everything evolves.
I'm also glad this doesn't relate to this particular game. We'll get into the draft just a moment because there is a Chen on the board and it's not puppies this time round. It's been stolen away.
That's clever.
VGJ Thunder have played more games by a long way than any other team in the current 707D patch. And then they won last week.
There you go. Yep.
See? That prophecy is true. Anyway,
Stats
let's get into draft one. This is a best of 3, of course.
Yes,
so
it is.
we'll see things slightly differently here, gods, I guess.
Yeah,
because it's a best of 3.
You can kind of test to see whether a hero like a Chen can go through the pool and be beaten, or whether you can actually win with it yourself.
Yep.
Since it is more maybe the puppy Chen that's kind of the feared one, but DJ himself plays a great Chen, something to look out for.
Yeah.
So Fnatic not shy from picking this hero.
Seeing Universe with the Fnatic jersey is really throwing me off, guys. I gotta be real here. It's still not clicking for me just yet. Oh, that's great. But yeah, Chen, this is a hero that people have been talking about a lot. Extremely dominant because you can just have one person have a great lane. You just send back three creeps if you want in the beginning. You have high impact later on. Of course, with your creeps punishing. But Secret get this type of opener here. So now this is a way to deal with that Chen send back, right? You send them and then he gets the glimpse off. So you can actually counter the Chen a bit more in the mid game.
By the way,
and they have heavy team fight array coming out.
3 Fnatic players all used to play one Secret.
Oh yeah, they did. You're right.
Yeah.
So we do have some drama.
A little bit of, let's say, needle between some of these players.
Well, yeah, not just the fact they played together, but there was, of course, the controversy.
Bad parting
bad
of the
parting,
ways.
yeah.
Yes.
Very bad
As
parting
people
with
know.
Puppy and Universe,
Yes,
right?
indeed.
That's when people.
That's the one everyone
Puppy
remembers.
and Envy as well.
Yeah, Puppy and Envy.
I thought that's what you were talking about.
I
Puppy
was what you
Universe
were
and
talking
Puppy
about.
Envy. It's a little bit
I thought you were just memeing us, Fogged.
No.
Puppy and Universe
the
wasn't a
meme.
bad
No,
parting.
it wasn't that
just
bad.
like, this didn't work, bye-bye. Yeah. I don't think there was any bad
I think
blood
Pylai Dai was the surprise one after playing so well.
there. After the major, yeah.
Yeah, Shanghai was, we don't mention that word, sorry, it's like Macbeth, isn't it? Not to mention yeah, so yeah, a little bit of needle here, which will be fun to see how that pans out.
Look at this. They picked this earlier, didn't they?
Yeah.
They just are really liking Lion.
Yeah. And also, they've gone back to early support picks.
Yeah, they have been
Which
picking.
they've been coring, hadn't they? They've been doing early cores.
They've been doing the Terrorblade a lot, and it has been getting banned.
Well,
It
it's
was
the
again,
first
so-
stage core picks have largely been banned, PL and Tiny as well. Tiny's like always first 2 picked if he's left in the pool.
Wait, what will Envy play then? I feel like all of Envy's heroes that I've seen lately are taken out, right? He's got some Weaver left, right?
Some Weaver, some Wraith King. I've
Some
seen some
Weaver.
Envy Wraith King.
I was going to say, Wraith
King.
is the only one.
Weaver,
He's the only player in the top teams currently playing a lot of Wraith. He's been playing a lot of Bristle as well.
Oh yeah, we did see some Bristle.
Yeah,
that's true.
Again, one of the few that have been playing it. Outside of that, he's been doing Drow, Gyro.
Can always see a Drow strat, especially in BO3. You have a bit more wiggle. I mean, BO1, BO3 doesn't really matter, but
you do seem to get one of the best of 3 though. Could be a Drow, and then they're kind of warned against it, and that won't happen again.
it's unlikely to happen. Yeah, in like more than one game of best of 3.
I think already though, Fnatic's off to a look. The opening draft just is very scary for me because they're like this. They can't team fight already. Just looking into Secret's lineup, they have to just go for a different kind of approach. Go for these like split pushing pickoffs with the line and Chen.
Oh.
Who's bans? Is that a tied ban for Fnatic?
Yeah, I'm glad
tied
you're
Jug.
struggling because I'm struggling.
That's what that's what the glue stain is.
Yeah, I mean, Fog has the broken glasses, Paul has the old age.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. So gods, please let us know what the bans are from your
Let us know what's
viewpoint.
going on.
More cores. I mean, I think obviously not going to bet sports.
Not going to ban sports.
But carry specifically with the secret side with TB Jug. You know.
We might see some. We might actually see those kind of like strange carry heroes picked up here. We might see some like a Wraith King, etc. Versus. I mean, versus this, it's good too. Right?
I tell you what, both of their carries play Bristle. Ace plays Bristle too.
I think the Wraith King's very good against those supports, but
yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
Obviously, I think generally you're looking maybe more at the core matchup though when you're picking a carry. But
Yeah.
Oh wow, we actually didn't point that out. Omni was left that whole time, huh?
Yeah, jeez. That's probably, I mean, talked about as maybe one of the potentially most picked band of the tournament.
It is a Universe hero, of course.
So we'll see what Fnatic looks
Third
at
only
now.
to Aber and Tide in his current form.
Okay. Oh yeah, I mean, this is really going to be kind of digging from the bottom of the barrel for some of these carry picks.
There's a lot of crossover on these two teams, by the way.
Yeah, there are.
Hero, like,
There are.
They both play Medusa. They can both play it carry or mid. They both have Abaddon picks on the offlane. Chen's obviously a challenge pick as well. Venge is a challenge pick.
Yeah, look at this.
Tide.
They even ban out the Weaver. That's what I'm saying. We're gonna have some. We're gonna have some Bristle, some Wraithlings. We're gonna have some strange carry heroes coming out. Absolutely.
Oh yes.
Was Tinker banned yet?
No, not banned.
There's a lot of vision for Secret with that
Secret,
Elder Titan.
I do not think they're afraid of a Tinker with those two supports.
No.
Yeah, mid one's also got that Arc Warden in there.
They do. They do play some gross heroes on the side of Secret.
Yep. They do
Mid one and Ace.
Funky
Whoa.
heroes.
These guys.
Which is why partly why I was looking forward to this, because you always get a little bit somewhere. They're going to go boring, and they're going to go back for the Razor, so that'll be Ace's Razor for Secret.
Yeah. The first two picked this in their last series, so happy to kind of continue that trend.
Yeah.
Hero that doesn't deal well with Chen rotations, though. Not that many do.
This is a random interaction, but his passive purges off the Chen sendback, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that could happen. I mean, I don't think that's why they picked it, but
No.
Okay. Back for Fnatic, so
More
Universe
safe.
on a nice, safe bat rider.
straight initiator versus Team Secret. You just jump in, grab one of those guys, and they don't really have greatest ways to react to it.
And a really good hero to laning stage wise against a player and hero Razor for Ace that often gets left alone.
Yeah.
That great for diving in with Chen rotations. That's where it's kind of a very scary lane. But this Lifestealer pick is maybe saying like, you know, let's maybe do Razor mid. Yeah. Maybe Lifestealer mid. Who knows? We've seen offlane Lifestealers even.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a great Lifestealer pick versus Chen as well.
Yeah.
Chen and Batrider can be super good for laning phase and mid-game setups.
I mean, Fnatic showed in their last series they were very happy to pick a Tricore. This game less of that kind of a draft with the Bat, but
yeah,
seems Secret almost have that kind of idea in mind.
I'm trying to think what the Fada hero could be. We've seen Fada play Razor, right? In the past.
Yeah.
I think Razor, I think
when
Fada.
he wasn't playing offlane.
Yeah, he wasn't offlane.
He was the Razor.
He was
He
the
was. His most picked, by the way, of all time is now Puck.
It is Puck, yeah. Puck's decent. They've got that gives them the bomb. That gets a really good counter versus the Bat. Lion insta hex can be a little bit annoying though, but.
Yeah, normally you almost always see at least some pseudo partner for a Lifesteal, even if it's just like an Earth Spirit roll.
Yeah, I think the
Nyx. Yeah,
I think the Puck or the Nyx are the two most. I think Nyx now is. I think that has to be banned by Fnatic, right?
Yeah, Tinker Bat seems like the dream Nyx game.
Yeah.
It's a tough Tinker game. Just the supports alone give good ways of dealing with a Tinker.
I'm really curious why Fnatic actually grabbed that one here.
It's not like a counter to Lifesteal by any means. It's okay mid against a Razor, but I don't.
So they want something to
out.
stall the game out. What's the Envy hero?
Terribly?
Banned
If
first too?
it wasn't banned, it would be good.
Yeah, his TB is PL.
So we're just going to go for Bristle then.
I don't think that carries hard enough.
I think it's a Spectre, right?
Yeah, Spectre. Some kind of big farming Battle Fury-esque carry, maybe.
Is Deuce still there?
It is.
Oh, yeah, Deuce is still there. Yeah.
Deuce seems good. I think less like Deuce with Tinker just seems a bit
odd,
awkward and odd. Yeah, you got two heroes that want to use the jungle stacks a bit. Deuce always seems to do better in the mid lane as well.
I think their team fight, if they pick Deuce, is really weak though. Or Fnatic, that is.
But what carry for Envy can give you
I don't
team
think
fight
that
is
much
the thing.
really does bring it together.
It's a very odd Tinker pick because of that.
How would a Gyro fit in there?
Seems better than others, but I think that to me, it's with the Chen pick, you've got no actual push coming out from your cores. It seems like a very weird Chen. I mean, the Chen pick was first, so it was fine at the time, but now it seems like a weird Chen draft with this Tinker getting picked up.
Yeah, they don't have ways to force objectives on the side of Fnatic, just the Chen.
I mean, assuming it's a DJ Chen.
Yeah. Which he played the Lion earlier.
They ban out Void. That would have given them team fight from the carry position.
Fnatic bans
Brood. Actually, the Void Tinker would have been a good way to round out Fnatic's draft.
Oh, so it is a draw.
Whoa, so we said that at the very beginning.
But
could be a Drow strat, and it is a Drow strat. It's just a bit of an odd one.
Yeah, it makes sense against
like an odd way.
Yeah, against a Lifestealer type draft, it's fine. Against Razor, you're not worried about the static link. They haven't got good heroes for jumping the Drow. No Lifestealer. You almost have to get a Lifestealer in Festball, I feel, which is where the Brute ban is a bit odd. But Brune is like the hard counter to Drow.
Yeah, I think Puck next, right? I think, like we said, I think those two are probably the more dominant. If not, they just go for just Fada staples.
Yeah.
So what, Underlord was one of the other ones?
Storm, they're going to go for
so
full-on Tricor.
It is going to be the Fada Razor then, right?
It is, yeah.
Like we're kind of saying that one. So they just really want, I mean, this is a nice Storm game in a way to catch the Tinker and the Drow, but there is a line there that can be a little bit annoying.
That's a surprise draft from Secret, isn't it?
From both teams, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit more in their wheelhouse though for Fnatic in terms of players that have played recently on those heroes, but odd way of getting to the Drow in the end. What do you two make of it? Gods, which way?
I'm still going to go with Secret. I think their support duo fits the draft and game a lot better. The ET Disrupt just give team fight catch, and the Chen just still feels like it's going to struggle to find a place in this game, even with the Drow push element.
I think Fnatic's lineup has to actually make like no mistakes in this game in order to have a chance. I think Secret's got a nice Tricore coming out. I think they should have a really good way to take team fights with the ET Disrupt, like you're saying.
Okay.
Good catch for Tinker too.
These two have gone against the Drow. Somewhere Toby1 is weeping quietly into his coffee. Let's hope we can pick him up with game number 1, because we're about to get into it as we go head-to-head. Remember, this is a best-of-3 semi-final upper bracket of Group A. It's Team Secret versus Fnatic. Let's find out who takes game number 1.
That's right, a lot on the line here for the Secret versus Fnatic matchup, especially a little bit more so for Fnatic. I would say this is an opportunity for them to be able to prove themselves against one of the top 3 teams in the world and really prove that this roster shakeup and being able to add in Abed and pick up Universe as well is all for the better for this year.
Yeah, I think for them it's, I don't know, hit back at the critics a little bit. Feel like this was the correct choice, that this is something that's going to ultimately work out for them. Not that I think of all people that don't care about stuff like that is probably Envy, because he's gonna do whatever he feels like is right anyways.
Envy's definitely gone through his he's gone through the ringer when it comes to outside criticism.
Yeah, I think once you've been through it enough times, like
you just stop caring.
Yeah, you just gotta develop a thicker skin.
How are you feeling about the draft though? Because I will tell you, as soon as I saw the Razor and the Lifestealer, I felt like laning phase was kind of over for Fnatic.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about their lineup though is like they have this one playmaker in this this ET, which kind of leads me to the idea that like the Storm is going to have to play more of an early game style. Like they're going to have to do more things like the Infest Bomb a little bit earlier. Like the lead up for Storm is a little bit different now because Kaya, it feels like a really bad item nowadays.
Really?
Yeah.
What about it? Because I remember you were like not so long ago you were all about the Kaya first on Storm.
When they nerfed it.
Yeah.
It was giving you like
it literally just hit him that hard.
It gave you like double the value or something like that. Like because when you normally build items like that, you get, especially when you play the hero a lot, and obviously I play Storm a ton, you gain this like general sense of things. I think mid one really liked the Kaya too, but talking to some of the more prevalent Storm players, they feel like the item just isn't very good anymore. Like it doesn't give you the value that it used to.
So we are going to be having dual lanes coming out from Team Secret, a Razor Elder Titan, which pretty much means that no matter what kind of duo that was coming out from the Lion +1, they weren't going to be able to beat that. And then on the other side, they were going to have Lifestealer and maybe a Disruptor hanging around. Disruptor probably most free, but looks like the lanes are actually going to be dodged out here by Fnatic, and they're going to be able to run their Drow Ranger into the Lifestealer and the Bat Rider against the Razor. That's the lanes that they want to have, right?
I think so. Like, ideally, you don't want the Drow to be against the Razor. You don't really feel great about being against the Lifestealer either, because the Lifestealer doesn't really die, and you have kill potential on her at some point. But that would require Puppey and or YapzOr to make the rotation over. But I don't know if Fnatic necessarily win this, or if Secret necessarily wins this like 2-on-2 trade. Because Tinker's so much better at harassing, and Lion has really high base damage.
Well, that is certainly quite the bounty that mid one just picked up. A triple kill of creeps. off of 1 Remnant and 1 right click. So he's not doing too bad for himself in CS, but Abed will definitely slowly but surely wear
Yeah,
on that lead.
they have Draw Aura too. So it's really hard for the Storm to contest.
Now, how about this Lifestealer? Like, with the Drone Ranger plus the Chen, can they actually threaten the Lifestealer, or is it still going to be just too difficult against this highly self-sustained hero?
Ideally, Ace, no matter what, when he's level 2, he could always just range TP.
Yeah.
So he shouldn't be able to die. He's going to be annoyed.
But if they
in this
force
lane.
him out, can't they at least get the tower?
Yeah, I think that's the hope, is that
Yeah.
you can just bypass that entirely.
Okay.
Oh, did the supports finally leave?
Yeah. Looks like we're back to having a 1v1 just like for a small period of time.
The Southeast Asian kings.
Yeah, they really are, right?
Yeah, mid one and Abed. Volvo has such high, like, he has such high praise for mid one. Like not mid one,
For Abed. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
he thinks that Abed is like the most talented mid
Yeah.
in the world.
No doubt when they heard Abed was leaving the team, that certainly had to be one of the many killing blows for Digital Chaos.
There was a lot of them.
Bit of overkill, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I heard he was homesick.
Yeah.
You can't really prevent stuff like that from happening. But probably, especially games like this, like I'm so interested to watch because for me anyways, there's like a clear division of like who the best is in the region. It's like, or in Dota right now, like in the scene, there's Secret, I think, has had the best overall performances so far. I don't think anybody would doubt that. They won DreamHack, they won Captain's Draft. They look very good. They also got second at ESL, right? Hamburg.
Nice pickup here on
kill.
Abed with a stop as well, easily being able to pick up the first blood for mid-1, helping to win that lane. Yapsor even going as far as diving the tier 1 tower just to get more damage on Pylai dive. Now the dive up at the top lane though, the Batrider is going to get run over, or running over rather, the Razor. This is why they wanted to be able to have that matchup. You can see the Lifestealer is now going to try and put himself against that Batrider.
They could just switch though. Like Envy still has his TP, so he can swap out.
Yeah. Though Batrider doesn't though, because he actually TP'd back to
But he
his
can
tower.
walk there if they want to continue to have the Razor, the Batrider versus Razor. And when you have a player like Universe, ideally you always give him the favorable matchup.
Yeah.
Because Universe is not the type of player that you want to sack. Like this is a guy that EG at least perceived he wants farm. And so, especially on a team like this, because Envy is so sacrificial, like you don't pick Dro unless you're a sacrificial guy.
Yeah.
Dro is the, I'm a carry, I'm going to help out the other cores. Hopefully they do well enough to carry me kind of hero. Like he's never going to be the centerpiece one position that you think. And I think that's a really cool evolution, like that has allowed Envy to continue to stay successful. Like when they played at the Summit, that was so good.
Yeah, so we're going to be caught by the Chen Lion combination here. Disables plus the neutral creeps. Not really any support that can stand toe-to-toe against that one. Mid-one's going to try and help out with a Fada, see if they can actually chase down DJ here. They should be able to. I don't really see any way for DJ to possibly get out of this one. Has a TP, but the damage is just going to come too quick. That being said, it did pull a lot of heroes of Secret all the way into their tier 2 safe lane.
Yeah, they brought 3 heroes over. I think that's fine. The Storm, I think, started chasing down too.
Yeah.
Everyone brought over.
Yep.
But yeah, as I was saying, like there's Secret, VP, and Liquid.
Yep.
And then there's the rest of the field, right? And it's hard for me to like distinguish between the rest of the field. Like
yeah,
earlier,
they're all kind of
yeah,
like
just kind of blend together in that regard. And so, you know, we're still kind of waiting for teams to join them. I think VGJ, Thunder, not to be mistaken with Storm, is probably like the next team up in that regard. And
how dare you insult Banana Slam Jam like
true.
that?
It's just cool to see like teams like that like pop up and become more prevalent. And you know, you hope for the different regions so TI is like as competitive as possible, right?
Yeah, this is certainly one of the most promising, I would say, that's kind of second tier, whatever, of the top pro teams. Fnatic with a pickup of both Abed and Universe. No matter how many good things you have to say about Excalibur as well as Ohio, I think many people, many analysts will agree that this is quite the upgrade.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of want to make this point. Is like when you're thinking about in the context of TI, like why people wonder like why there are roster swaps when teams seem to be doing okay. It's because you're not aiming for just doing all right.
Right.
I think people have, especially when you don't play at that competitive level, or you haven't experienced being around it, you don't want to just be all right. It's not enough to just be okay, win some games here or there. Like for me, that's the definition of mediocre. It's like you take a game once in a while, maybe very occasionally you get a top 4, but from a competitive player's perspective, like that's not good.
It means every tournament you're ending on a loss.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody likes that.
That doesn't feel.
Yeah.
That's why we have so many roster swaps in Dota, because we're not thinking about the context of like how are they doing in regards to the average. They're always comparing themselves to like how are you doing in comparison to the people that are consistently winning.
And that all starts with being the best in your region. Fnatic certainly weren't not so long ago, but
yeah, Mineski has kind of cemented themselves as that for a while. But
yep.
This is a good step. Like if they could take a best of 3 from Secret, who I feel like haven't lost a best of 3 in a while.
Yeah.
That'd be a promising first step. Like these games are always so fun because now it's just dethrone. You know, like are you the team that can topple it? Because right now Secret has this aura around them. It's like who's going to be the first team to make them bleed? You know, Liquid after TI, like there was this time period when after they won the minor, it felt like they were just going to keep rolling. But once you cut them, it leads to these things where they start to have a little bit more doubt, and other teams don't respect them as much. Like there's not that vibe anymore that you get from playing against them.
I remember us casting the Star Ladder. It was the first tournament of the season right after TI.
When they played Mineski, they feared them.
Yeah.
And they made so many mistakes as a result. Like if that was any other team, Mineski would have won that series. Like if the names were blanked out.
Our laning phase does seem to be unfolding with a slight lead to Fnatic. Kill score being 2-2, but a bit of a 1k gold lead for Fnatic right now. But they are getting a lot of farm on Tinker, which is probably the most important thing.
Yeah, this is kind of... He's such an important hero, especially since there's a direct counter to him on Radiant side. Like Storm is very nice against Tinker, because you always have the option to just kill him straight up.
It's an interesting little evolution of Chandra Ranger, them actually being able to farm Ancient super early, because they'll help the neutral creep. Tanking that up, Abich is going to TP away. Ace is going to force him out of it. Highlight die, mid lane. Looks like they're going to be able to run over this line, but at the same time, Storm has already been picked up, and Universe is just going to try and stay ahead of Fada as best as possible. Fada should be okay. Yapsor making sure that he's able to get back to the tower safely. Big rotation by Fnatic, but it does net them a very important kill in that Storm Spirit.
Yeah. We just talked about like the evolution to Envy. It's like, he's going to run there. I've never been more confident that a carry is just going to say like, I don't care about my waves or anything like that.
Yeah.
When we're watching the Summit, he's like this level 3 Luna coming into Lucent Beam to try to get one more right click on people for his team. It's like, it's wild. And that's, you know, Envy hasn't always been my favorite player because I felt like sometimes like his playstyle is very erratic, but I feel like this like evolution of him going from like this pure 1 position where we remember him from like Frankfurt, you know, when he was playing Ember Spirit, to playing this like sacrificial role and adapting to the rest of his team is like a really veteran look.
Who are these people looking at? When you look at these carries and they have to change their style, is it Matumba Men? Is that who they're kind of like modeling this behavior off of? Like, who's kind of pushing them to be that more self-sacrificial safe lane?
I think when you look at like Matu and what he was able to do for Liquid, it's the fact that like if you vary the amount of looks that you give a team, it makes it like more interesting. It makes your team a little bit more diverse, right? And that's always been the point of Dota, is like to make things as complicated as possible for the enemy team, to like keep showing them different looks. It's kind of like I remember I read something about like football, like American football. It's like you know, you're gonna run the ball, and then eventually like you'll pass and they won't expect it because they're like lulled into this like false sense of security, like this false sense of meta. And it's kind of the same thing with Dota, is that you need to keep giving enemy teams like consistently like different looks, because everyone gets used to seeing like the same thing over and over again. And then Liquid introduces the style where any 3 of their cores can potentially be a carry, right? And now Envy's doing the same thing. Like sometimes he'll play TB, but oftentimes like he can play the Luna or Weaver and just run around, and he can adapt to the game. And
it really does seem like we're pushing that idea to the extreme, with even laning phase being very hard to figure out who's going to be where. Attempt to gank here from Universe is going to be able to grab up Fada. They just lay down the Figure of Death, hoping to be able to burst him before the TP rotations could put a stop to that gank. They are going to be able to get the glimpse back, though, and Universe trying to TP out, but will be interrupted by the Stomp. So it's going to be a trade-off, and a fair trade-off at that, because even though it's a Razor, this is a 3-position Razor that's pretty poor in net worth right now, only sitting at 3K. Well, the Bat Rider for Fnatic, despite him being the quote-unquote off-laner, he's actually top of the net worth right now, thanks to his one-on-one matchup.
Storm and Tinker are very close in that regard. Yeah. That, for me, that's like such an interesting discussion. Like the evolution of just like how Dota's like consistently changed in that regard, and like how the players. You look at players like Envy and Fear, like they have to consistently adapt to like who's around them, you know. So like Secret, of course, when they have MP, they're gonna make MP's a little bit more sacrificial in that regard. So they make mid one more of their focus, right? But then they have Ace, and mid one is then able to adapt so that Ace can continue to play like his style of playing this one position. And especially when you have an offlaner like Universe, like this guy likes farm. He likes to be near the top of the net worth. He's not like some Fada that will just run in. And he'll die like 10 times. Like Universe has never quite been that player, because if you think of his iconic heroes, you think of like Void, and Void is a hero that needs farm to be useful.
It's probably one of the greediest offlaners you could ask for.
Yeah, and so Envy has to adapt, and I think this kind of like benefits him as well in that regard, because he has a player who's a little bit more willing to make space for him. Whereas, like, for example, Arteezy's like more of a traditional one position than he is somebody that I think will be a little bit more malleable like Envy. But yeah, it's
ignoring the kill score and the net worth lead right now, do you feel like one team is getting more out of this laning phase? Do you think they're happier with the way this game is going right now?
I think that
because I look at it, I'm like, oh, the Tinker's farming, but at the same time, so is the Storm Spirit. Right?
Yeah, I think Fnatic's probably a little bit happier.
Okay.
Because they can sense that their Bat Rider's doing very well. Like, they probably know that Bat's at the top of the net worth chart, and Tinker's been relatively uninterrupted in farm. Like, there's just like weird hump where Tinker, it's really scary to play the early game, then the mid game is fine, because things like kind of quiet down and everyone begins to farm and get into these like progressions. And then there's like a 2-minute period after that where you don't have Blink Dagger, where it's scary again. Then you have Blink Dagger, and it's okay.
Smoke up. Mid one does have the Life Stealer inside him. Is going to go for Universe. Universe unable to get the lasso right away. Now going to be disabled. But what a beautiful silence coming out from Eternal Envy, trying to focus down mid one successfully. 2, they get the sent back on Universe, as well as the Shrine usage just to make sure he survives. And that's going to be the first Life Stealer bomb that fails miserably for Secret. As Fnatic group up nice and quick, are able to turn things around.
We talked about that though, because they don't have this playmaking offlaner. That Storm and Lifestealer are going to have to do these bombs faster than they expect, and it feels very forced. And this is very nice from Fnatic right now. Like they're playing very well. Like the difference between, for example, in the Planet Dog series that we saw, like Planet Dog, it felt like they were the ones that felt like they were forced to make moves at all times. Whereas like in this game, Secret feel like they have to make moves.
Universe lassoing up. Ace with the Invis Rune was able to find a jump onto him. It kind of forces out the lasso, but not much else is going to be able to come of it. In fact, if anything, Ace may be run down here with the double silence actually coming out. Too much slows. He's trying to armor the toggle. Nice. Really good stomp just in time. Ace managed to keep himself alive just long enough for Yapster to save the day. Meanwhile, Puppey did actually manage to get the kill on Abed. It looks like him and the Storm Spirit combined powers to bring down the carry of Fnatic.
Yeah, they needed something like that pretty badly. Because Fnatic are doing a very good job right now. I was surprised that they beat Cole that badly, but this is looking like a really solid team. It's only 15 minutes into a game, so it's like hard to draw too many conclusions.
Yeah.
And there's a full best of 3 to play, but so far, like what I see out of them, at least in the early game, they're playing very fluid. They're not hard committing on anything. Their plays, like, nothing feels very forced. Everything feels like a very natural progression, and it's actually Secret that, for the first time in a really long time, that I see a little bit uncomfortable.
Do they need to continue to try and be the aggressors that we were seeing earlier? Well, definitely if it comes to defending Roshan here. Envy and DJ. I remember this actually came up at the summit. We had OG on the couch. They talked about the eternal Envy Roshan.
Envy talked about the eternal Envy Roshan. He said like sometimes we just have these like random Roshans where we just go in. You gotta know. That's the thing though, is like Puppy played with Envy, so he knows this is happening.
Yeah.
Like 100%.
It's such an eternal Envy thing. Like I don't know. It's just like something about Roshan.
It's only like when you play with Envy that I was told that you quite understand, because like other teams, it still works against other teams, which is why he does it, right? Mm-hmm. It still consistently works against other teams where it's like Roshan has fallen at like 18 minutes. You're like, what?
You're just like, what? Oh, I didn't expect that.
Yeah, but when you play against Envy, Puppy's like, not today.
They're going to foil their plans for now, but Fnatic are going to keep on going. Despite not being able to pick up that Aegis, they're still going to try and go for a very serious push here at the top lane, with the Tinker helping to defend them from any aggression. The Drow Ranger to lay out the damage, but it looks like that Elder Titan Stomp combined with the field coming out from the Razor lays waste to that creep wave, and they very quickly give up and go back to farming. I don't know, this game just feels very awkward. It's just very relaxed in a way that it seems like both teams are almost kind of happy with what's happening in the game, and they're just like, yeah, this is chill.
It's kind of like when both teams are like evenly skilled, though. When you're gonna feel this way, like this lull, because like when Secret played against Planet Dog, there wasn't like a lot of respect, right? They just ran at them, they didn't care. But when you're playing against a team that you feel like is matching your tempo, you're less inclined to take these like risky maneuvers, you know? You're not
you think those like 2 slapdowns that Fnatic gave to Secret kind of like
it resets the game a little.
Take a step back, and they're like, okay.
But at the same time, like, you know, Fnatic also had a few sloppy fights where they were also tempo matched, and so they're a little bit more reluctant to take these fights. Like when you have these teams, like the warding's a little bit better, the speed of the game is a little bit better. Those moves where mid one is just really fast is a little bit better. Like, and so you try not to force these kinds of things a little bit too much, you know?
Yeah.
Because it reveals a lot. Like, it's stuff you won't quite notice, but at the same time, like now, both sides like should have a better understanding of wards are, for example, because both were able to see the other side coming, you know.
Yeah, they should.
Mid one was prepared for that, which should kind of give Fnatic, and you see JJ just hovered over that ward.
Yeah. So both teams should know about both wards.
Exactly. And now Storm should also say, like, guys, the only reason he makes that move on me is if he has vision and he knows that nobody's behind me, or that the Life Sealer is inside me. Because you're not just going to watch a Storm farm those creeps if Life Sealer was inside of him, right? Yeah. So now, when you have two teams like this, you have a better understanding, like, okay, each side has a ward here. Then you can decide, like, where the next road of engagement is and stuff like that.
So, as a result, both of our kind of farming cores, both Fnatic and Secret, will actually take the top lane, continue to farm it up.
Yeah. Mid one's going to get Bloodstone, and they're going to look for a fight. Yeah. That's the next general timing here.
Some sort of attempted smoke gank on Tinker, I'm presuming.
Yeah.
I mean, they got to get this Tinker eventually.
Storm's just going to go for the full zip out. Just like very, very safe play. And both teams are just playing super safe because they're so afraid to just like get slipped up on. Now, like, if you look at the net worth, like, the Bat Riders has fallen pretty hard because he's not getting kills anymore. And
he
he's
already
no longer
has
shoving out.
Fuel Scepter on the other Titan. You see that?
Yeah. I mean, that's just Yapzor.
Yeah,
it's not really surprising.
Yeah, I guess not.
Yapzor hits a lot of creeps. Like, as much space as he makes, Yapzor is prioritized heavily in creeps, which is why Fada looks like poor as dirt all the time.
Yeah. This game, he's doing all right. He's made a decent recovery of what was pretty low CS in the laning phase.
That's why
focusing on tankiness.
Yeah, that's why it's not easy to like say that a certain player is like playing badly or whatever, because sometimes you don't know if the general game plan is structured a little bit differently, right?
Yeah.
Like Fada can look worse on this team because he's gonna give up like a quarter of his farm that would normally go to him, and it'll go to Fada or to Yapzor instead.
Right. 4-man smoke up, heading into the offlane jungle.
He has the Bloodstone, right? So yeah, you get the Bloodstone, you immediately smoke. And then you can transition it.
I'm a little bit surprised they just roll up into the offlane jungle. I mean, that's such a common farming spot for Drow Rangers and for Tinkers.
Oh, mid one.
But
They want to jump on him so badly.
Eternal Levy. They're actually going to turn on him. They go for the back line. They go for Universe first. They're going to try and pop him. Now, mid-one jumps over to Eternal Levy. They actually bring him back with a glimpse. Should be able to finish him off here. Fada zoning the rest of Fnatic back at bay. Who's going to be able to get the slow onto DJ as well, netting them an extra kill. Secret.
Huh.
They managed to get the first successful big move of the mid-game.
That was so cool. So mid-one shows he's like, oh, we were smoked. And Envy's like, okay, here's the turnaround opportunity. Guys, like, because this is like a very Fnatic move to make, right? Like, everyone rotates in to take that fight immediately.
Yep.
Which they've been doing. You notice when they took that Shrine fight,
yep,
when they were trying to save Universe. So they do the same thing. They think it's the same exact play. But this time, like, Secret is much better set up.
It kind of reminds me of the way that Eternal Levy's old team used to play, where they were kind of greedy, and they just played pretty defensively, but they would always collide on any of those like aggressive smokes.
Yeah, Envy teams are very good at that, but this time it bit them in the ass because Secret thought like the next layer ahead. They're like, this is going to be a bait that they don't quite expect to be a bait.
Right.
And that was really cool. They just didn't quite see something like that, but as expected, he didn't go for like first item Kai or anything like that. That item, oh, I really wish it was better. Maybe he still goes for it and shows me that it's OP, but I feel like I played too many games on that hero.
Long jump in, grabbing Eternal Levy, and they have the dust out already.
Did Ace really buy
Those
dust?
TP rotations really aren't going to do a whole lot for you. Yes, he did, because Storm Spirit did not have it, so.
Man, what a cool guy.
Yeah. Abed just going to chase them this whole entire way, hoping the Universe is going to be able to grab somebody as well. Abed's now going to try and jump out of here, but going to be grabbed up by mid-one with the combination here with the Elder Titan. They do manage to get the lasso onto mid-one, so they will manage to finish him off, but it looks like both Southeast Asian mids are going to end up dying here. The glimpse back. Tinker is going to end up going down here. Yaps are going to try and protect himself with a stomp. Can't really get out of this jungle area, though, so he is eventually going to be dying. Giving himself a few more seconds with the Yules. He's actually walking away from this one. Now he finally goes down. DJ, though, he gets a little bit too close to Ace. Fada goes ahead and zones back the rest of the Universe. Is going to have to firefly himself through the trees. Pilai Dai also makes a quick exit as well, but Secret winning another engagement like that.
I'm genuinely having a hard time like understanding who won that fight. It's like the Tinker and the Chen died for Storm and ET.
Yeah.
That's kind of even-ish.
But it all started off with the Draw Ranger pickoff, right?
Yeah.
That forced that
That doesn't
engagement,
count. Come on,
so.
man. It's like that happened ages ago.
If it's not in the battle view, it doesn't count.
Yeah, if it's not in the battle view. Stats don't lie.
Okay, but my question is, we've seen Secret make two kind of aggressive, kind of like smoke-ish plays. I guess that last one was just a Storm Spirit jump. Why aren't we seeing Fnatic match that tempo now? Why aren't they being the aggressors
I'm
with
not
some
sure.
sort of like Shadowblade smoke up with Dro?
I think they slowed down the game too much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they thought that they would be able to win fights anyways, so that they can play a little bit slower. But I think it's kind of hurting them because, like early on, they were using the Bat Rider and they were the ones like laying on the aggression, right?
Yeah.
And you have this Shadowblade on Envy, which lends you to believe that like they want to be able to always get the jump first. So
Yeah,
that you could always
arguably
get the
that
sounds.
Shadowblade should let you set up on both Storm and Lifestealer.
Yeah, this is where I think that smoke kind of disrupted their timing a lot. You know, when they took that fight out of the counter smoke. So then now they're not thinking so much like you lose the flow of the game. You're not thinking so much about like the game progression. It becomes a little bit more about farm, and that's kind of problematic right now for them.
Oh, he's just going to be a bit too late to try and grab a Storm Spirit. He had an Invis Rune anyway in his bottle.
Where's the Lifestealer?
Yeah,
Bring your bomb.
An Invis Lifestealer bomb. That sounds pretty dirty.
Yeah, and he has a Sentry. Like, Secrets come equipped.
They're going to do the same thing they've done before, which is kind of like back up behind Fada as he aggressively pushes down mid.
Oh, he dewarded, so... But they might still have seen that in time. He might not know about that Sentry.
Is he going to try and grab him here? Spirit actually tags him. He is really not sure
Yeah.
about trying to make a jump like that on that Storm Spirit.
Sentry's like barely out of range, but
Yeah.
you ideally, if you're Fnatic, you want to take these kinds of fights right now. Because you don't want the Storm to just get a BKB. It's going to be really hard to kill.
So you think Universe should have made that jump when they saw the Invis Storm off that Sentry? And
that one's
grabbed him?
tricky because if Lifestealer is in there and just like pops out and you get glimpsed back, then you're still liable for death. It's an awkward fight. You can't. It's not easy to just take these blind fights because you don't have vision, right?
Yeah.
You almost never want to just go for these blind jumps.
There's a lasso pull, but the jump in for the Stormsphere, they're immediately going to drop off Ace. He starts focusing on Eternal Envy. Fortunately, the heals come out from the Chen, the send back as well, so that's going to be enough to protect him, and all it means is the Elder Titan is the one who ends up dying here. Another sent back. Oh, they got that Stormsphere. Great play from Abed, able to chase him down. Now Puppy's going to be slowed down by the sticky napalm as well. He's going to have a hard time getting out of this. Kinetic Field trying to protect him as much as possible. Fada will actually provide some reinforcements here, draining onto DJ. Ace slows him down just enough. They're going to be able to pick up that one kill, but Eternal Envy standing strong, feeling that the Tinker is going to be able to back him up here, but Ace right on top, and they do have that Shadow Blade to be able to get himself out of there. Universe, though, but the Hex already up. Now the Lifestealer in serious trouble is going to end up dying as they try to go on to Eternal Envy, but sure enough, Fnatic still had the numbers for this engagement. And show it here, as Vada is actually still going to be end up dying to Abed. He is making such aggressive blink plays, and it is paying off big-time dividends for Fnatic. What a serious comeback in that last team fight.
Yeah, that was sick for them. Now they're up 4K, and it's because we were talking about it. Like, we want to see Fnatic get the jump off.
Yeah.
And for once, they were able to take the fight on their terms, whereas it felt like Secret just took like 3 fights in a row where they were able to do whatever they wanted. But this time, like, Secret, they don't have the best save, if at all. Like, the best thing that they have working for them is like Glimpse once the Bat Rider jumps in, but at that point, they'd already lost the fight.
It's kind of cool. Abed taking up the Observer Ward and planning it.
There's not a lot of Bloodstone charges now on mid one, and the pace of this game is like completely shifted since that fight. Like, Secret went in there 1 by 1 after, lost all their cores, and I mean, this is scary for them because they couldn't afford that. They don't have this like playmaking offlaner with a big teamfight spell. Yeah. And that's why we were talking about like Fnatic. Maybe they feel comfortable because they know that the teamfight advantage is always theirs. They have a Bat Rider. Like, this Bat Rider's the best teamfight hero in the game out of all 10 heroes, right? Like, he's always going to be able to get a jump off, and there's nothing they can do about it. And when you have that knowledge like in your back pocket at all times, it frees up a lot of pressure. Because conversely, like, you have a Razor that just walks in and like plasma fields. He has no stun. His team fight's very limited. He can't get on top of Envy. Envy, I mean, look at his item build. He's got Shadow Blade plus a Hurricane Pike. But of course, who knows? Like, Secret could do something silly at Roshan and like lose one fight, and then it swings back the other way. Like, a pendulum works both ways, Austin.
So as it swings towards Fnatic with this 3K gold lead, we'll see how Secret respond. As we do have some sort of weird smoke setup here from Fnatic. I'm not quite sure what this is.
I think they wanted to smoke and try to go for Roche, but if you're Secret, maybe you take a fight right now. You just finished BKB on Storm. That's probably your next major item timing. Yeah,
because the next really big item is actually going to be coming from Fnatic's side of things. Long jump in, but there is going to be the Universe BKB, and he's able to pop it immediately. Goes ahead, grabs up the hero. Elder Titan draws a big stomp, actually hitting him huge numbers on the back line, but they managed to get another stomp there onto the Draw Ranger. If they can actually get to him, they can easily finish him off. Mid one is running a little bit low on mana. Highlight die. Oh, Fada just getting gobbled up right now. They got to deal with this Tinker, but they're just running out of mana for Mid one. He's got no more power to be able to deal with this. The Scythe device, they're going to be able to finish him off. Now the rest of Secret quickly retreating, but the damage is already done. Fnatic, they are beginning to heavily take this game.
Does Pylite Die have a Ghost Scepter? Am I seeing that correctly?
Yeah.
Alright, so when you're Storm, there's like a few items that you absolutely hate. It's like Force Staff, Eul's, Ghost Scepter.
Yeah.
Because if they get the Ghost Scepter off, you pull, you're actually just waiting. And you have to use the majority of your mana doing nothing. And so you had this guy jump in on this Lion, and Pylite Die was just like chill. He's like, alright, I cannot die. There's actually nothing you guys can do against my hero. They committed the entire BKB duration to try to kill this guy, and it did nothing.
They still got that glimpse on him. That's trouble, especially with the Stomp there. They're going to leave Envy.
Alright, Envy gives him a kill, but
Jackie Mao, you have stepped over the line once again.
He's a habitual line stepper.
He really is.
But that's okay in this game because the true one position piece, Abed, is still doing well enough. But man, for Secret, they got to reprioritize things because this line is not easily killable anymore. And they don't have the stun to punish his Ghost Scepter either.
Yeah.
It's so funny, Pylite Die so farmed, and I'm never used to seeing Pylite Die this far. normally you just, I think the problem was like mid one didn't click on his items because like instinctually, Pylai Die is almost always the free kill, you know?
Yeah.
You're just like, all right, so here's how the fights go.
So you're saying that was actually 2 items that Secret just didn't know about,
Yeah.
it seemed like, right? Because they
When they
jumped
jumped the
Universe
bat,
with the BKB.
oh, that ruined
that was
Storm.
so bad.
It ruined Storm a lot because
Yeah.
the initial jump is more than half your mana, and if you don't kill somebody in that, then you wasted half your mana doing
Oh,
nothing.
that long-range Scythe of Vice. It's going to cause some serious issues. They managed to get the lasso as Ace actually gets a little bit too far forward here. Jump in from mid one. Trying to decide who to focus on. It looks like it's just going to be the Chen here. That's an easy kill. That's the freebie. And it looks like they also managed to catch Pylai Die here in the stop, but they're being very careful about this, where they're not really sure how much they want to extend into this Tinker with the March of the Machines. It's just enough, though, with the control out for the Disruptor to be able to get that second support. But they keep it pretty calm. They don't try and go for any extra heroes out of that. They've actually still got to deal with this bottom lane push where
The
double Siege Wagons, that's a problem.
Okay, they can't anymore.
So not able to take off a Roche off of this successful team fight. And it does seem like that's another issue, right? Is that they don't really have any of these heroes that helps them deal with this Tinker split push.
Yeah. The idea is that Storm does, but Storm doesn't have this item like an Orchid, so it's hard for him to put out enough damage.
Yeah.
So the initial jump matters so much, but now everyone has countered his hero. Like, they're all prepared for him now. You can't just like commit the BKB to kill unless you know for a fact.
Do you agree with his choice of Shivas as the next item rather than going back for the Orchid?
I think he needs it so that he can scout out the Tinker.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's too hard. You're lacking in the vision department a little bit too much.
They've got Chen on one side, or at least Chen creeps on one side, Tinker on the other. Lanes just constantly being pushed in.
It's complicated right now, though, for Secret because
Secret,
the Storm, his value in Storm is that you just do this like long jump, you instantly burst somebody down, and then it's chaotic because taking 4-on-5 fights is very hard. But Fnatic have very good anti-jump heroes now. Like this Chen can always pop the heal, which allows, for example, the Drow to get Pike off, or this Lion to get his Ghost Scepter, or this Batrider to get his BKB.
As soon as they got those sustained items, the Chen just looks so much stronger as a support. You try and jump somebody, he's just able to get the send-back. Yeah.
Like this is a little bit more complicated than it used to be. Like for Secret, the game plan was just like, we can jump always on this Eternal Envy Drow Ranger and kill her. But now everyone's come so equipped to deal with that. That's no longer the same. And when she gets a BKB, the problem is further exacerbated. Now the only person that they can logistically kill is this Tinker, who really doesn't show himself on the map very often.
I remember watching some of the recent Tinker games. There was an Optic game with Tinker, and it seems like everyone has adjusted their playstyle with these Tinkers. That they are just playing super duper safe, especially before their Blink Dagger. But even then, they're playing super safe, and oftentimes they go for the push on the side lanes. Sometimes their team just sets up for them, because Tinker's farm is pretty much the only farm that matters in most Tinker games.
Yeah, Tinker games are dictated by Tinker.
I mean, who cares if Drow Ranger gets, you know, that third item?
In this game, I think it matters, because you're still playing against a Tricore.
Yeah.
From Secret. But
And the Tinker is kind of countered by the Storm.
Yeah, but
So
it's a
he's-
Tricore that's like not supported by anything.
Yeah. Without strong initiation, we've seen Secret really struggled, because their only real initiation is just the jump-in Lysealer Bomb, which is all single target, which is heavily countered by this Chen and some of these disables. Laser, BKB actually managed to grab the Razor here, but is that really the target they want to go for? They're going for the back line right now. Secret with their BKBs are trying to deal with these supports. They're actually now focusing down onto the Drow Ranger. Will manage to bring him down. The Finger of Death goes on to Ace. He's being controlled up at the side of the Vice right now. Abed thinking about going for that one. Is actually going to yield Scepter by Yapzor. That's a huge pickup. They can actually stop Abed from being able to get the blink out, which they do, but a sent back barely comes out for the Chen. He gave up his life to be able to save the Tinker, and it comes just in time. Abed, quick reaction immediately heals up just a little bit, goes for the push on mid. He's just trying to create any space he can because he knows Secret off a big win like that is going to get an objective of some sort. And it looks like it's going to be the Aegis.
Yeah. And right now, Secret, I think they're kind of falling into that old habit where they're the ones getting these like awkward jumps on. Really back and forth game though. It's like just depends on who gets the first initial run in.
Yeah. I mean, it felt like the combination of Secret being able to get a relatively good jump with their Storm Spirit Lifestealer, and then on the opposing side, Fnatic made a Blink Lasso play on a Razor.
Yes.
A BKB Razor at that.
They really, in the past, they were almost always just doing it on the Lifestealer of the Storm.
Yeah.
It's like the priority of these fights. It's like hard to analyze because things keep shifting.
Yeah.
Like Fnatic, I think they should just stick to this idea, like continue to run at them. You don't really need too many items, but now things have shifted because of this Aegis, of course. Like, once again, like Aegis Storm is. I can't think of very many, if any, heroes that are better with the Aegis.
Searching for.
Oh, did they give it to? Did they give it to Lifestealer? Oh, that's hype.
Why would they do that?
I'm not sure.
Well, that's useful.
I'm trying to think about it because I was thinking about it. Like, there's not a lot of heroes that benefit from it more.
And then Storm Spirit, yeah.
Yeah, like Storm is kind of king because you can refresh the mana pool entirely. Like, honestly, that's something I'm trying to understand right now because I'm sure there's a very good reason, but I'm just not good at the game. So, or not good enough at the game to like quite see it like right at this moment.
All right, we'll give you some time.
If I had to theorize, it's probably because they think that if anyone's going to be like front forward or hitting buildings, it's going to be the Lifestealer. And so they want to make sure that if he does get jumped, he always has the option when he revives to get the rage off, and they can continue to team fight. Whereas the Storm will always jump in pre-BKB.
Yeah.
That would be my logical guess behind it.
It sounds like decent reasoning. We'll just see if Secret are actually going to be hitting any towers anytime soon. They've got all the offlane towers still up, all the tier 2s as well. Fnatic already positioning themselves to be able to defend out this bottom lane with a heavy push coming in from the Tinker at top lane. Process of elimination, especially mids really pushed in too. They know that Secret have got to be inside their jungle right now, got to be looking for this push at bottom lane. They are trying to keep some presence here accordingly. See if they can actually get into a team fight, even against the Aegis. It seems like Fnatic are thinking about it, and they are going to be able to get a jump onto Fada here again. They're going to be able to grab this Razor, immediately silence up. Now he does have BKB, but not willing to pop it. Looks like the physical damage is just going to be too much anyway, so he gives up his life. Really great jump, though. Fnatic making that read as soon as these heroes on Secret had to go back to defend against those mid and top lane pushes.
Yeah. Maybe a little bit of miscommunication, or he assumed that he could always get the BKB off and just like TP. But finally another... I mean, this game's so back and forth. It's cool to watch.
Yeah, BKB for Tinker may also provide a really big swing, as that'll certainly stymie things a bit for the Storm Spirit.
Yeah. Now you got a Blink Dagger on Pylai, who's incredibly farmed, and they're investing in the jump now too, because they realize like whoever gets the better initiation and the better follow through is going to win these team fights. And that's why everyone's investing in BKBs, including this Tinker, because he realizes like the first jump is very important for Secret, and conversely, the first jump is very important for them, which is why Pai's going to go for the Blink Dagger.
Does that mean we need additional disable on either the Storm or the Lifestealer to follow up to make sure that we have more than just this 2-second stun?
He's gonna want to get what's that item called?
Sight Device. Oh, you're talking about the Lifestealer? Okay.
He either gets Abyssal or the Nullifier.
Okay.
So when you do the initial jump, you can get the further lockdown.
I like that Nullifier.
So like you zip in, pop out, nullify.
Yeah.
So they can't be KP.
It's a longer disable, right? If you're concerned about BKBs, Nullifier is compared to the Abyssal.
But he's gonna get AC first, anyways. Okay. You might as well like you have the Hyperstone already. It's a very natural progression for Lifestealer, anywho. Ace is like one of the first players though that I saw really experiment with the Nullifier. I think he was playing like Jug or something like that. And I saw him go like some weird
Blink
build.
Orchids, yeah. was picked up. It's 18-14 right now, 40 minutes in. We're going to have a 5-man smoke here from Secret. Excuse me, 4-man. With Fada actually in the offlane jungle right now. He's going to be the one showing presence again in that mid lane. Just seems like over and over again. Maybe with the Razor's movement speed or whatever, they feel like he can get to this fight every single time. But 4-man smoke up, Shiva's, oh, that's going to be a big one too, especially they instantly take out Eternal Envy. Now they're going to turn. Looks like the last up on the Storm Spirit, but he got off his BKB, so he's not taking any damage whatsoever. They're going to be able to pick up the support as well. DJ, poor Chen, just can't really do much about it. He's looking to be able to catch Abed, but... Blink, blink, blink. Oh, he found him now, but Midwan is only going to be able to see Pylite die from that position, so looks like that is going to be the support they pick up, as long as they see him here. Kinetic Field, Pylite die, hoping to actually kill Puppey before he can get the glimpse off, but it looks like he's still going to get caught. Ghost Scepter buys him a little bit of time. He actually goes ahead and throws down the Static Sharp? Huh?
There's some hate, some lingering feelings. From last
He
season.
already blew the finger of death and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
He was just that afraid of being impaled?
No, dude, it's like the counter. It's like, you'll finger me even though you can't kill me? Well, let me show you the next progression. It's not about... It's about sending a message.
He throws down the ultimate and style TPs away.
Yeah. It's about sending a message. It's not about the act of doing something, Austin. Like, it doesn't have to lead to something. Sometimes it's meant to inspire people. You know, you see your captain lay down this like sick blue cloud on the ground, and suddenly like you understand, like, I will follow this man to the ends of the earth. Oh, captain, my captain.
I mean, if anything, any captain in Dota is going to be throwing down strong acts of aggression as a display of leadership. That's got to be Puppey.
Oh, I like that. That was good.
BKB for Fada as he's lassoed up. The jump in the back line. Midwan immediately goes for that kill on the Drone Ranger. And again, it's the same old song. They jump the Drone Ranger, they kill the Chen. Now they try and pursue for more. Abed is going to be far enough away. He's going to be okay.
Yeah, it feels like now Fnatic, their jumps just, they do not feel as clean, like, at all.
Yeah.
They don't have the damage either. Like, if you have the Tinker right after and he doesn't get the BKB off on Razor, then you can just kill him by refresh hexing. But the amount of time it takes to, like, kill that core, Fada has so many defensive items. Like, I don't know.
Does.
It's so hard. Okay, so remember how we talked about how Fada just runs at you and he doesn't really care?
Yeah.
So the problem is, like, when you play against a style
like that... Abed completed that TP underneath the Shivas as well as the field coming out from Fada, but they are going to be able to fight it out with the BKB, and now the rest of the team is coming in with the Hex already on. Stormseer is going to be jumping into the back line. They grabbed Abed. They're going to be able to take him out. Ace is just dealing out so much damage with his AC build. Physical damage that Fnatic cannot possibly match or stand up to. 4 down on the side of Fnatic. Opening up an easy push on the high ground for Secret.
Yeah, Fnatic have to be so disappointed with how things have gone, because it felt like for such a long time their team fight would be superior in this regard, but they keep being forced to jump on this Razor because we talked about how Fada just runs down lanes. So like you don't really want to ignore him, but at the same time, like the only way they were winning fights was when they were jumping. For example, like they lead off with the Storm or onto the Lifestealer, right?
Yeah.
Like they can't do that because Secret, they just started adapting a little bit more, and they're like, well, we'll show you this Razor. Do you want him? Like, and it's a lemon. You don't actually want to take that. But they don't know that, so they're just like, okay, I guess we'll just burst this Razor.
I mean, we've seen like the same move from Secret over and over and over again. We're seeing no buybacks, which obviously we know there is none. So Secret, they wise up to that real quickly. They're like,
I think that's
screw
just the
taking 2 lanes of rags. Let's go ahead and take the game.
Yeah,
And that's it. GG.
So Secret, they continue their role so far. Of course, this is a best of 3, so not everything has been determined quite yet, but so far so good. As I mean, this is the most that I've seen them get tested in.
It definitely did seem like Fnatic was giving Secret a bit of a run for their money.
That was a close game.
Yeah.
I honestly thought that Fnatic had a very good shot. Like, that Storm was so incredibly farmed.
Yeah. And at some point in time, it did seem like that last like 5-10 minutes of the game, it just turned into Tinker versus the Tricore of Secret, and he just couldn't possibly stand up.
They
to
were
every
not on
single
the
one
same
of those.
page either.
Yeah.
Like the Tinker wasn't in position to follow up on a lot of these initiations, and it's just like Fnatic. I don't know. There was like some weird complacency that existed, and then the game plan starts to fall apart. You keep going on to this Razor who, has demonstrated that he doesn't really care if he dies.
Yeah.
And he's also like the tankiest guy in the world. He's like Hood, SNY, Lincoln's BKB.
Yeah.
That is a struggle to kill that man.
And at the end of the day, it's still not one of the big carries, right? It's still Fada.
Doesn't
It's
care.
still the 3 position on the team.
I know how
so,
Fada thinks. He's just thinking it was like,
yeah.
cool, Mikey dudes.
All right. Well, you feeling good about Fnatic heading into game number 2?
I think Fnatic, like all these teams are in this like weird zone where it feels like they're like on the cusp, but they can't quite do it. And
Yeah.
until you do it, then it doesn't quite matter. And Secret is still a very good team. Taking
All right.
2 games in a row off them. People haven't been able to do that in a while.
Let's see if Fnatic is able to find the hidden key to victory here over Secret. We're going to have a break for Fnatic. We're going to head back to the panel.
Predator takes you to the edge.